Hello everyone. So in the previous episode, I covered the architecture of Blazor, both the client side and the server side. In this video, I want to talk about the project structure of both the WebAssembly Blazor as well as the Blazor server side. So first, I want to create a project, and it's going to be Blazor, and I'll call this block Blazor WebAssembly. And I'll choose the WebAssembly template. All right, that's pretty simple. And let's run this right away before we go into the project structure, I wanted to show you guys something else for both the WebAssembly Blazor as well as the server-side Blazor. So if I run it, I see it's loading, and then we can see the pages, the user interface. So what I wanted to show you guys is if I use the developer tool and I go to the network tab, I have to do a refresh, you can see all these things are being downloaded. Okay, you see the loading? It takes a long time, and then all these are downloaded. So let's take a look at what are actually downloaded. So at the beginning, we have this Blazor WebAssembly JS file that is downloaded. And then this file initializes the download of the other things. This is the mono WebAssembly, which is the only WebAssembly. This is the context. So all of the other ones run within this context, as I've covered in the second video. So we can see that we have the Blazor framework, and we have the .NET assemblies, all the dependencies. We have also our application as well. So this, because I call it Blazor WebAssembly, this is the project. This is the project. So this is our application DLL, and our debug information is also downloaded here. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you on the client-side WebAssembly Blazor. So if I stop this for now, okay, let's open another Visual Studio instance and create another project, which is the Blazor server side. It's the same process, but this time I call it Blazor server side. Okay. And I choose the server side app. All right. So again, before I go into the structure, I want to run the app. All right, same drill. We're going to look at the developer tool. We'll clear it, refresh, and this time, let's take a look at what's downloaded. So we only have this JS file that is downloaded, and then we have this, the WebSocket, which is the SignalR channel. So we can see that we clear this. So each time, if I do anything, clear again, click on this. See, each time I do anything with the components, the channel there is being used to pass message back and forth, because all of our components and the state of the components are actually being kept on the server side, and we're using the SignalR channel to send back and forth the message. And yeah, that's also the thing that I want to cover before we go into the structure. So on the left hand side is our WebAssembly, the client side Blazor. On the right hand side is our uh, server side Blazor. So we can see that they look pretty very similar, and it's all based on ASP.NET Core. So the entry point is always the program files, and they're pretty similar too. I also covered the ASP.NET Lifecycle uh, that includes the configuration as well as the middleware pipeline in one of my other videos. So this program file uh, has a main method. This is the entry point of the whole application, same as the server side. And this basically builds the hosting environment of the web application. Um, and the startup files are the actual configuration file that we can use to configure the application. So let's actually focus on our client side for now. So we have our program files, which calls our startup files to configure our applications. By default, there's nothing in the configure services which handles the dependency injection. And there's only this adding one components, which is the root components of our application. Um, if we look at this folder, it has the www root folder. We have index.html file, which has the basic HTML structure. And the most important thing, the two important thing here, one is this app loading thing, and this is the root component, and also this Blazor WebAssembly that I have showed you. Uh, that this one downloads all of the DLLs and initialize the runtime to start running our application. So then when this page gets loaded, uh, the app component, which is root component, is being used, and the root component set up the router for the client side routing, right? And then it uses the layout file, which is under the shared folder, the layout file, and it provides a layout for our application. Um, and the most important part here in the layout file is this body placeholder, which is a placeholder of all of the routable components. So the routable components are the components that has the, for example, here, has the add page directive, which tells the Blazor framework or tells the router that this component is a routable component, and in order to get to the component, we can use this route, right? We can use this path, and when we use this path, what's happening is that this component will be displayed at the place where the add body placeholder is, which is inside the main layout. So in this add body layout, this main layout, we have this add body placeholder. And if we go to /counter, this placeholder will be replaced with the information here. This is the client side structure. And if we focus on the server side structure for now, it's very similar. The only thing that is different is that in this startup file, it has more information here. It configures the default route here, which is our host file. This is the entry. Well, the entry point is still the program.cs file, but on the front end, this page gets loaded first, which has all of the HTML structure, just like the index.html in the client side. And we also have this Blazor server.js JS file, which kind of handles the Signal R communication channel. and some other tasks as well. And we also have this app component placeholder here that loads our root component, right? And the root component, basically from this point on, everything is almost the same, if it's not exactly the same. So we go to the main layout, we load the main layout. Uh, so the app component here also configures the router, and then it loads the main layout, and the main layout also within the shared folder, we have the main layout here, and it also has the body placeholder. It's the same mechanism that it loads the routable component within it. So the opposite of routable component is unroutable, which means that a component that does not have that page, does not have this add page directive. So those components are basically kind of like controls that can be used um, in components, in other components. So I also wanted to draw this project structure on a whiteboard. I think it's going to be more helpful. So we have this program entry point, program.cs file entry point. And above that, we have the startup class that does the dependency injection and also middleware pipeline setup. And above that, we have our um, either it's the host file or the index.html. So the host file is for the server-side Blazor, and index.html is for the client side. And above that, we have our root component, which set up the routing, the client-side routing, and last but not least is our main layout component. And within the main layout, the most important part is the body placeholder, which is the placeholder for all of the other routable components. So we have C1, C2, etc., Cn, and all of these are actually will be eventually loaded into the body placeholder one by one, and will be displayed to the user. And of course, we also have our unroutable components, which will be used within the routable components, and they also can be used within each other. So that's the product structure of the both the server-side Blazor as well as the WebAssembly Blazor. And since we have seen that the product structure is very, very similar, so you can actually switch between the WebAssembly Blazor and server-side Blazor. So if you want to start with the server-side Blazor because it's production ready and the WebAssembly Blazor is not production ready as of today, April 8th, 2020, then you can start with the server-side Blazor and until the client-side Blazor come out, and then you can easily switch to client-side Blazor if that's what you want to do, if that makes sense for the application and for the business. If you want to switch, I think the only thing that you Other than changing a few lines of code and configure the program's startup classes a little bit differently, the only thing that you need to pay attention is to keep your components very, very thin and encapsulate the other logic in um, in a different layer, maybe in a service layer. Also, I forgot to cover the import.razor file. This file, it has all of the namespaces, so it uses using directive to import the namespaces. So it has a lot of these. So you don't have to use the using inside each component. You can just put it under the inside the imports.razor, and this will import all of the namespaces for you, and then you can um, use the classes inside the uh, namespace within the components that you want to use. You don't have to use the using in each component. So it keeps the code very clean. Yeah, that's everything I want to cover for today, and I hope it's helpful. If you like my video, please give it a thumb up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching.